So again, another probably quite heartbreaking, frustrating way to go down at that point. And we said it, Rich. Thunderlost, what a game from him to be just pretty much the destroyer of Finnish hope in that one. Be more southern fashion, it could technically still swing a little north. You don't know. You're playing the odds. And with the time that Liquid came in, they can be very cautious on shuffling up a little bit. But you really have to be cautious. You cannot just try and slide on in anyway. You've got to scout out every part of this. Try and piece together that painting of information. Every little shot that comes through. Every little pixel that you know. Maybe a vehicle pulled up. But let's see where this circle heads. This is going to be extremely defining, especially with so many teams so centralized. And as we wait a couple more seconds.
Come on.
Where's this going?
Like,
okay.
There we go.
Okay. Well, FaZe are laughing. Heroic. Happy. There's plenty of teams now that will be loving this one. And actually, Liquid get a really nice shout. The problem is all the teams, it's not just those that aren't in the circle here. It's just not just, you know, your DA, SMB, they're in issues. It's the ones like Mark, TM, BBL. They're still in a spot of bother because so many teams are now being compressed towards them.
There's only 2 playable spots on this. I don't mean playable, but certainly endings. There's only 2 ending spots. You either go down towards the south here on the crossroads, or you pretty much slam into where FaZe are going to be controlling. That roadside now is an utter death trap, but it's also a prime position on the map. Teams want to try and take control of this as much as possible. Teams, they're sitting in front of that, overwatching all of these teams, just make a mad scramble. SMB in the vehicles and in very, very dangerous areas. Qwizzy on the corner, finding gear up just on rotation. That'll be a knock and a flush. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. First player leaves us in game number 2. Galactico's looking for some sort of backstab from gear up, but I think they're going to go further afield than this.
But it's great information for ENCE. That SKS is super... you can really catch the sound of it coming out. So at this point, they know exactly who's towards the north, and they know exactly where they're heading. They should have great information. They might even be able to know where Mark currently resides, just kind of piecing together what they're seeing, kind of filtering through so far, and the facts of who's around them. But you're right, it is that main road, trailer park, southern kind of band from just kind of west to east that's going to be littered with teams, starting with Heroic, FaZe, Exhalation, SMB, TM, BBL, all around there. Then yes, you'll have those locked in towards the edges, the outskirts of Pozo, which will be hard to leave, to be honest. But for now, it will be providing a bit of cover. Got VP in there, Hall of Game in there. I think a bit of Vanir on the other side, on the kind of west side of the road. And then, as you noted, Liquid, they can't go any deeper at this point. They are still being held this way. Yes, they could wide swing around Trailer Parkway and try and slot in, maybe, but that's, again, the unknown. They can't scout that far. They can't see past these, quite, you know, I guess, steep hills, the ridgelines that run around this area. Now, we were looking towards when and where DA would go. Would they go on those long rotations, like your kind of like gear up Galacticos way? Would they try and go south? They didn't. They just kind of went over, waited for all the other teams to move, and we've got a southern shift. This is right towards that side of the VP are holding. They went towards the north side of Pozo, and they've claimed a great spot. Liquid loving it. They're going to be happy. They can now move on in. A hard shift really favors them well. The problems of the teams in the north, Rich, where the hell do they go?
I think you've got to go for a full send, El Pozo. Try and fight the city and do what you can. All of the backside of El Pozo, which is the one that's completely open. I mean, look at this. It's like a mad rally in the desert. Everyone just wandering by, and there's going to be damage done in abundance. Smash gets run over. Hugh gets the initial knock. Na'Vi, BBL, SMB, everyone just in this. Look at this.
Wacky
it's just
racing.
A wild, wild race down the mountainside to try and find a foothold in something, and they've hit the first buildings, and there's going to be a catastrophic amount of damage done. BBL lose one, they lose a second, the rest of them are going to be pulling up. Mert in the back, and he's out of the car, and they are dead. Alya, the absolute savior, causes so much carnage. I mean, don't get me wrong, Na'Vi have lost players. Also, DA holding. We did say they were going to be the ones that were a little bit later towards this. Remember, they were above Craterfield, so they're one of the last teams that managed to make it within El Pozo. TM hit the main building. They're in the tower block, and they'll probably just stay here secure for a little bit of time. Jembty, that's a nice little tap, but it's actually BatulinS, excuse me, who comes through for the knock onto it, looking outside the windows on the buildings that they've been holding since pretty much the very start of all this catastrophe.
Yeah, it's all gone Pete Tong at this point. And I was waiting to see if another team would come down and send it like SMB, but ENCE are now going to have to make their run. Where did they go? Exhalation? It looks like it. Yeah, they're pulling up towards it. Nade's already out. They're coming through. They haven't quite found target, but the bullets will. The boom finds Diggory. It finds Tiikzu. Exhalation, a comfortable catch here, just on the outside of those smokes as soon as they peered through. A free pickup. ENCE. Yeah, you were great in game one. Rustanmar had a mad game. He's still going to be joining over. He was a little split further north than the main pack, but this is a poor start for them here. And there's the trade coming out. Favorable numbers, third party. A doozy from the hillside, still going to deliver some shots. Rustanmar is still standing, or should I say driving. Can he save the rest of ENCE? Get him back on their feet. He's looking nervous. He's looking around him. There are a couple of players around. Zoom's still there. Salek's still there, and the first shots come out. Already Zoom wants to get this fight over and done with. There it is. Swept up, swept aside. ENCE, I guess, from almost first to almost last. Again, the curse is always lingering around, but all right, Rich, where's your money then? We look in Pozo, or we going a little bit further north?
Oh, it's so hard to suggest. You're either looking backside of Pozo or you pull towards that road where SMB. I mean, I'm always a fan of looking at roads on this side, so I'm going to say west for this one, and that's just a big old guesstimate because so far it has been a complete nightmare. FaZe is still sitting pretty solid, so if it's good and I'm completely wrong this time, we do go to El Pozo town. There's still the edge of that road in, so I'll kind of take that as much as I possibly can. SMB are actually in a really good spot. They don't have the hard cover, so we'd have to assume that they do move from that position, maybe get a little bit further up and a little bit more involved. But just look at the city center. This is going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, it's starting to look like school when Shroud used to drop there. It's looking real busy. Oh, the teams everywhere. And it's going to force the hand of those that aren't already in here. There's still three, maybe four teams. Yeah, all coming down. Vanir going to make it on over, but this is now already garnered. Hall of Game are here. Now, they haven't given away too much. They've hit the vehicles, but you can see the nades have come out. They're well aware there's someone on the other side. Good. Nade coming over. Does a fair bit of damage, but not enough to actually knock anyone. Again, chipping away slowly but surely. Yellow and I think it was Hjort who did receive a fair crack of that one. Flash is coming out. But again, no big commitment to the push just yet. They want to catch their breath for a second, stabilize, consider where's that push going to come in from. Where's Flammy as well? He's on the way. Karks is coming over too. And actually, now there's support for either side. And Karks could be in a really interesting spot here. He could have vision on short, on Keanu, on yellow. Yeah, he does. Does he have a better gun to play with? He's going to actually opt for the barrel. I thought he might go for a little tap away on the mini there, trying to apply a bit of pressure from the back lines. But now they are going to be well aware of your position, and Flammy could get a flank on you. However, we have to look again to the next battle, which would be Exhalation up against FaZe. And there he is, the Shotgun Templar himself on the other side. Fuzzface just cracks open the building. Salek's gone. And once again, the Shotgun, it ain't looking so shabby, I'm going to say it. But Fate has found Gustav. No flush just yet. But that was from further away in the east. So plenty of problems could be beginning now.
Looking to decide which way he wants to go. We could sit here and be a nuisance towards FaZe Clan as they're trying to eject themselves from that building. Or he can just go and get in the car and regroup with the rest of the roster and hope for the best, because the outside of the circle and working your way into Pozo wouldn't be as bad as the backside of it. Fectix and Lou doing the work. Mommy and Cax going down. Zoom overstaying the welcome, but this time it's... I mean, really, there's nothing else I can do. I just love how instantly just switches to the shotgun. Like, no tomorrow. Yep, we're in for it. Close combat. Let's go, boys. Not a problem. Vehicles are there. They'll have to make a move. I don't know if this is a full send, to be honest with you. Or if you can just stay on that road. I can't really remember if the road will shroud you enough and give you a little bit of leverage away from all the teams. Just simply because of how many buildings are in El Pozo. People will have a little bit of elevation. People will be in tower blocks, overwatching all of this. Like, the snipers are going to have a field day. As I say that, Beamy hits a belter. Aitzy goes down. Instant on the flush phase. They can barely make it away from this.
Yeah, they're already in a bad spot. Again, if you look at this, consider question mark could be in a very similar position very soon. As much as, yes, they can get past FaZe, where do they go from here? I'm sure everyone's going to blame it on the shotgun, because obviously everyone's very logical. But honestly, FaZe's position, a little unfortunate in that regard. But Heroic just beat them to the punch at this point. They were both in similar scenarios on that Western early rotation. But maybe a little too late to go towards Pozo. But Pozo is preoccupied. It's a little busy. There's no vacancies here. I'm going to see Galacticos go on the send. It does seem like that road is going to give them a little bit of cover to play with. Now, I want to keep in mind, question mark, if they do come this way, could have vision on this. But again, I'm still wondering what question mark do.
Keanu clearly making presence of at least Mormay up on top. I'm not seeing any cycle of the throwables thus far. Fex has got the smokes down and will probably just preemptively wait. But Fade is just sitting here. He wants to deny this final player access to the circle by any means necessary. The more they do this, though, the more time that they waste out on the outskirts. And sadly for all of QM, Heroic is actually waiting for them on the sandbanks. Now, as you can see from this POV, their maneuver, or their mobility, should I say, maneuverability, is very, very limited. They are kind of locked in behind the cars, which would actually give a very, very big stance for QM to be able to just throw all the nades. They're boxed in. They can't really go too far away from the center. That nade is so good. Page, run away from it quickly. Otherwise, you're in all kinds of trouble. They are busted to bits in this moment in time as the next one goes off. Beamy goes down, T-Bone closely to follow. Page as well. They are just dropping like flies. Nowhere to go, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. And well, QM is just flooding this path, gets behind them, and faultlessly seals the deal.
Are you telling me it wasn't the shotgun that was the problem here? How did Heroic lose that fight? I don't understand. They didn't have a shotgun between them. Wild. Question mark, though, with a lovely little sweep of the north. They will be able to keep themselves in really good position. So they'll be holding that down. Now, I'm glad you kind of started to allude to it. Now, the issue is when you're fighting in towards El Pozo, there's a lot of verticality in these buildings. So they will be able to see a great deal of the surrounding area. You're going to have so much vision. So question mark is still in a lot of problems. They're still going to have a lot of issues trying to work their way in south because a lot of teams will be keeping an eye on it. But again, as it stands, it's a busy old city.
It's a hot old city. Nade goes in. Finds them both. That's all kinds of bad. The next one's following him as well. He's got to run away from that. Blue pushing him in really very limited places. Finds himself in the gas station and instantly mxey just puts him dead to rights. Circle collapses further.
It's going towards the crates.
Ooh, that's look at I tell you what as well. Really quick, respect that. I mean, Na'Vi have got themselves back on the feet. They were pretty broken after that pull-up earlier on towards the side of the crates, but they have a good amount of players left. The question is, like, what lines of sight the teams have over that? There aren't many big old buildings left. So how many angles can you actually control without being shot at?
Oh, DA. Look at this sweep and clear, Rich. Dipping into the
SWAT maneuver.
Murder hole at this point, doesn't it? Look at him. Trying to work on through. VP will be able to see parts of this. I don't know how much. TM maybe as well. Galacticos trying to make their way in, but they're still not in the new circle. They're just kind of on the outskirts of the city. So it's not looking great. I want to see if Liquid find their way in, because they'll have to get past VP, who are still being kept safe by the circle. They're going to be one of the bigger compounds or bigger buildings still in with verticality, should I say. The rest are still quite, sizable buildings, but none as much, as you can see here, with vision further afield. However, there are plenty of dangers in peeking those windows. These boys can all shoot here. Question mark have opted to go, or try and go, should I say, towards the west. Now, there ain't much rest for the wicked on this one, because look at it. Okay, well, north ain't going to work. We can't just send straight in. That's not going to happen. All right, let's go for the western approach. Well, now, Na'Vi, Wall of Game, Vanir, they can all see us. There is no comfortable way in. If you were one of those teams on the northern edge, on those, open terrain, you didn't commit towards Pozo, this now seems to be your fate.
Alya still firing all cylinders. Great job earlier on, holding off the attack from the wall and the mad rally. Damage finds its target, and to be fair, if he just... There's another one going to be flying unless Mellman's been pushed back, which he has. Good tag. Nice cover fire coming from his teammate to the back, at least solidifies their position. Galacticos now have to make a run from it. Good old smoke. Well, I don't know who exactly has put them down, but if they have, it gives them some angle to be able to at least leverage off and work their way into this hangar. However, Perfectix has other ideas. He shut down two of them trying to make that cross. That's kind of devastating. They're trying to get something going off of that. And DA could be the next ones on the chopping block. VP are just playing border protection here. to every team trying to work their way across. Now it's DA's turn. This is what I was talking about. It's just the levels and the angles that they're going to hold by these tower blocks. It's such a strong position to hold and deny so much area of land or maneuverability to even swing into this circle.
Yeah, this is brutality. DA gonna try and make the run. Spyro can see a fair amount of it. Oh, tag! No frag. The actual flushes are super hard at this point. A little nade into the smoke as well. That's pretty good. That's really good. Jeong's been caught by that. Vard gets into cover, as has Jembty. He's been unable to get the flushes so far. They're still living in the smokes here. Oh, now that is a way to do it. Just nade in the building. I'll get the job done, no worries. And VP fighting right on back. Good couple of kills this game after the quiet game one. Even with the victory, they want to get that amount of kills under the belt too. But Na'Vi aren't going quietly into the night either. They've still got 4 being racked up here. QuestionMark doing relatively well as well.
With the circle shift over towards the west, VP finally has to make some sort of a brazen maneuver. And Team Liquid are actually on the outskirts of this, so that's going to be a big fight eventually when it unfolds. A lot of teams are starting to tighten up. You mentioned over the crates, well, Na'Vi, or at least what's left of them, decided to go a lot more central. All of game tied up in the building, and what will be probably the strongest compound in all of this. Vanir are going for an interesting play. They'll play edge circle here, but if they can just get out of line of sight, it could be pivotal and then turn up when the time's right. I'm kind of okay with that for now. We'll see how it does fare later on and what position it actually puts them in. Liquid. What's the play? Where do you go? How do you make a stance in this one? The center's about to pop off, and SMB are the first one to find that fight.
Yeah, really nice shot there actually from aim. Just tracking Rip9 like a... Ooh! There's just a player in the field. Player in the open. Just... You could just see it catching him for a second. He was so ready to maybe like try and get the flash on the knock, and it's like, oh no. Laz's still out there, and aim takes a really brave fight. And actually, the nade follows up towards Rip9 again. He's doing as much work as he can. They have to make a move off the back of this. They have to move forward. They're all knocked this down to basically just 1, and you're going to see them now being wiped out. They have gone down in 8th. Now, Liquid chose to try and fight the devil you know rather than one you don't. Keanu on the other side going to be forced out of this position pretty soon. Yellow's already knocked. The man with the voice, sadly, not on his feet for now. And actually it's VP from further afield, just laying into Liquid. Keanu does go down, but this is surely going to destroy both sides. I don't know if they can get those reses. I feel as though maybe Short can. But Liquid will lose all opportunity. They were given no other good choices. You run across the road, you're dead. At least that was a potential fight they could have had. I don't mind that decision making at all. Sometimes it's not a great choice because there aren't great choices anymore. You have to try and define your own destiny. And now with the circle being where it's at, QuestionMark is still living in this, Rich. I am so surprised.
Yeah, but they've got a multitude of angles to cover, and Apocalypse, the first one to find it, hiding behind all of this. I'm really intrigued to see how Vanir swing into it. I was forgetting, like, this position. They have this entire fence line just encompassing them, but the safety net from that's now been removed with the circle switch. Godzilla has made note of Vanir's presence. Let's kind of keep that in the back of our minds. SMB is clearing every single building, just trying to find Na'Vi in front of it, but it's so difficult because they've moved to the back buildings and took themselves into at least one that doesn't have any window whatsoever. And the nade down. It should... Mellman actually might go ballsy here and try and bang it off his teammates' wall. If he does that, oh my word, Flamey. That's a good shot. Straight on with the AR, and unfortunately for Keanu, he has driven into another vehicle, which means he has to stay his feet and hit the deck. This was the problem that I was going to foresee for Vanir. The safety net have been out there, now completely taken away with them. They're crushed on arrival. Lazza the same, finds Qwizzy. Na'Vi going down while they did try to keep in their little hidey holes. It's not worked out this time, but it's a very hot area.
Oh,
and
9
VP's
kills.
the next one to throw itself into this wild battle in the open. Apocalypse goes down. Lazza barely breathing. Youth burning away at the side also.
Man, this is just VP, even under the most strenuous circle conditions. These have been brutal circles for everyone. They are still thriving. That was actually a misspray from Spyro. Honestly, uncharacteristic at this point. You can see Perfective so aware that Lazza would try and backstab. Catches that hyper-awareness again from VP. We're into the top 4. What do we have? We have Vanir with 1. Whole of game with 3, but still, they've been staying alive in this. QuestionMark unrelenting. They were out there with Heroic and FaZe in the north, and they've somehow still lived. And then, of course, there's VP. Now, question mark, 3'd up, vest there. I see no smokes, no nades. Broken helmet. Utility is low, but the shots are good. That's what they needed, but Fate gets traded already. BatulinS finds him. They know this is the biggest target for them. If they can get past Dante, this could be a different scenario altogether, and Spyro's on a tear. 6 kills this game, 12 overall. It's time to move. He's got to make this happen. And it actually works out well, as Flawlessly gets found by Yellow. There is still damage coming in towards QuestionMark, who are desperate to hold on. 11 kills for them. They are fighting so hard for this, but they are pinned down. Dante is living just in a tiniest ditch, being maybe saved by a couple of those tires stacked up, a doozy. How long can you stay out here? But now this forces the fight to change, Rich. It goes from VP up against QuestionMark to now throwing in Wall of Game. Wall of Game will be able to focus on VP here.
They've been holding down this hangar for quite some time, but remember, it is exposed. You have these open areas, so moving between the boxes, not only they get an aerial view and coverage of what's going on, but the damage, my word. Look at how much health has been removed between Dante and a doozy. They have just smashed VP. This is where Hall of Game needs to move on this. They are down at the moment. VP looking super strong. They're swinging around 1-2. What in the world? They just springboard into it.
They're unstoppable, Rich. They are absolutely unstoppable. Perfectix has finally been knocked. We still have Spyro alive, BatulinS alive, the brains and the brawn. Now what can they do with it? Spyro is still here, BatulinS with him. Yellow has been quietly living away, just in the sidelines, trying not being noticed, trying to go undetected, but now he has to show his hand. All of Game still have 2 players standing. Spyro picks up a level 1 vest, desperate for any sort of cover. And it's a flashbang. That's all they've got. What do you do with it? BatulinS is trying to just calculate something here, make a plan in mind. Yellow gets flashed, and actually Hall of Game could focus on them. BatulinS waits. Look at this man. He holds his nerve. He waits for them to deal with Yellow. He's seen what's in front of him. Broken vest for Yuri. He's not in a good spot. Spyro has a level 1 vest and a broken helmet. Rich, these players have so little, and they are just being separated by smokes here.
No time to even heal up. Circle's going to do the rest of the damage. They'll force them forward, hiding in the smoke and living their best life, or maybe not. These just keep bouncing and bouncing. Kadrilla's laid down. Does he realize he's going to have to crawl? But again, they can't be seen. They'll be wait a minute, he can lock him in behind the fence. They've got to move around with this one. Looks and swings on the corner and tries to get it, but doesn't. It's a 1 versus 1 as we fly around it. Unfortunately, he's out to the blue. This will take away so much health. Swings around and gets him in the back.